But there is one last factor that could not only impede the full recovery of the fishery, but it could potentially completely end it.
The aquarium industry and hobby has some problems it has to face. They're facing a public perception issue. Animal rights organizations are just vehemently opposed to all animals in captivity, especially some that have been taken from the wild. And they're very powerful groups that can result in legislation and can result in cost to have to offset that with advertising, with legal fees. Some of these campaigns result in legislation and policy that make it more difficult in the buying countries to do business.
If you look at any of the websites of Humane Society of the United States, ASPCA, you will see that the messaging is don't buy wild caught, don't keep wild caught, and that includes fish. PETA goes even farther and says don't buy any fish at all. Instead, get a colorful screensaver of fish and put it on your computer.
If they came somewhere like Barcelos and actually saw the fishery and saw the broader benefits that it offers the local communities, the protection it provides to the environment, they might change their mind. Conservation is a really complex issue. There are no simple solutions to it. Bans may work in some instances, but there are instances where they could have much more negative effects. And this is a prime example of one of those instances where an outright ban would have a serious negative effect.
The reality is the sustainable use of resources in the Amazon actually works to protect those habitats. You really create incentive to protect those environments, and that impacts everything from not just the fish, but every other animal in that habitat.
In fact, nobody has a more vested interest than the fishermen to take care of the environment where they get the fish. And they want to keep the fish populations growing in order to maintain their livelihoods.
In 2018, animal rights groups succeeded in pressuring state agencies in Hawaii to partially end the capture of marine fish from their coral reefs, putting the future of the fishery in jeopardy. This sent shockwaves through the aquarium industry.
Hawaii is viewed worldwide as the best managed fishery ever. If we can't successfully win the battle to allow fishermen to continue their livelihood, I am very afraid that we'll have a catastrophic effect on the entire industry. If Hawaii goes, attacks will be made, and all already are being made in areas like Indonesia, and probably marine fisheries would be put out first, and then it would just be a cascade for the fisheries in freshwater areas, such as in Brazil.
No matter how much data we have that shows that we are collecting in a sustainable manner, the methods are sustainable, the fish populations are actually increasing. When you ban a fishery that's well managed, that sets a precedent. That says that you can do it anywhere.
But there are cases where fish have been collected in ways that are harmful to habitats. For example, cyanide has been used to capture some reef fish in Asia.
I am aware that bad practices exist in some wild-caught fisheries. Bad practices such as cyanide fishing. And that's something that my association and my members will not support in any way. It's not sustainable, it's damaging to the coral reefs where they're using the cyanide, and it's an unethical practice as well. There are bad practices and good practices. We need to look where the good practices are, and we will use those fisheries. Where the bad practices are, we need to close those fisheries down.
If somebody is operating a fishery that is not providing socioeconomic value to the community and/or they're somehow harming the environment, the industry has to stand straight and tall and make sure that player either gets put out of business or reforms to practice good techniques.
Yeah, we like to feel really good about the fisheries that we support and where we work. And if we identify a region or a community or a fishery that's very, very healthy, that's something we want to get involved with and support. And when we see fisheries that are problematic, where stocks, are declining, and we have alternatives from aquaculture, for example. Those are initiatives that we support. So if a wild fishery is healthy and sustainable, and communities benefit, the right people benefit from their own natural resources, and that's really the holy grail.
In the case of the Rio Negro region of Amazonas, there are clear benefits to supporting the aquarium fish industry. After 50 years of capturing fish, there is no evidence that fish stocks have decreased. It's the type of industry which helps to protect the forest and rivers. Industries like soy and palm oil agriculture, or cattle ranching and mining, destroy the forest and contaminates the rivers. Aquarium fish can also be sold at a higher value than those products. Traditional extractive industries like aquarium fish, fruits, and nuts should be seen as the future for industry in the rainforest because of the economic and environmental benefits they offer.
I believe that the piaveros and the community of the people that participate in the well-being of the forest need to be respected and supported in their efforts. And I think they play a very important role in protecting and in safekeeping the well-being of the Amazon.
Ela gera recursos com impacto muito pequeno. Qualquer outra atividade que demande a retirada da floresta, seja para agricultura, para corte de árvores, para madeira ou para qualquer outro fim, certamente vai ter um impacto muito maior.
If we don't protect these fisheries, then we lose them. Once we lose them forever. And once you dam up some of these areas and that habitat is lost for these fish, you could be looking at potential extinction, if not just for specific locales of species, in some cases entire species. And we're not just talking about the fish here, we're talking about everything from the most minute bit of algae to invertebrates like snails and insects that live in some really niche ecosystems there that once they're lost forever.
It's a humble little hobby, having these colorful little fish in your home. But this is something that these home hobbies can be involved in and help resolve global issues. Poverty alleviation in developing countries, food security for people living in rural areas, protection of areas of biological importance, offset of climate change. This is all because of this little hobby of people having fish in their aquarium at home.
It's such a great hobby. So many kids are looking at screens nowadays, and an aquarium gives them a sense of nature and responsibility, so that they take care of the fish and learn to take care of the environment of our planet also. I think our industry helps with the conservation of the fish in the Amazon region.
The ornamental fish industry is like the other extractive industries in the Amazon. It sustains the local people with the traditional knowledge to know how to use the forest and maintain the forest. We can lose one or two of these industries and it won't change all that much. But the problem is a domino effect. We are losing all of the extractive industries, we are losing the traditional knowledge, and in the end that could mean that we lose the Amazon.
Mas por que não a gente utilizar esse recurso natural que tem em abundância na nossa região? Vamos utilizar no sentido de a gente estar trazendo riqueza para o país, fazendo que o país seja conhecido pelo ornamental e fazendo com que as populações tradicionais sobrevivam dignamente e protegendo a nossa Amazônia, que vai com certeza influenciar o clima mundial.
There are many sustainable wild-caught fisheries around the world which, because of those fisheries, the habitats surrounding the fisheries have been maintained in a condition that they would not have otherwise.
Well, given we know the fact that this fishery is so environmentally beneficial and so important economically for this region, given the fact that we know the fishery is headed for a severe decline, if not collapse, really just as consumers of tropical fish, people who might be interested in tropical fish aquariums, seek out and buy Rio Negro fish where you can. There's nothing that shows stronger support than actually just buying the product, the end results, and keeping these guys afloat.
Não, isso aí não acaba. Diminui, depois melhora um pouquinho, mas não acaba. Que eu tinha 10 anos de idade quando eu trabalhava com meu pai em Tabatinga, todo mundo falava, vai acabar. Até hoje, já estou com 76 anos e não acabou. Né? E estou passando para os meus filhos. Né? Eles é que vão continuar.